Good morning, and thank you for all your comments. And I'm just going through some of the stuff, and somebody has put out such a good line that. I, of course, there's the people who are questioning my idea that Farage may be, that Putin may really be dead. We go back to the issue of Julius Caesar and the wonderful essay title that I remember being given when I was at school. Caesar dead is more alive, Caesar dead is more powerful than Caesar alive. And if it worked for one tyrant, I'm sure it can work for another. Putin's power and Putin's name continues relentlessly, even after his demise. It doesn't matter about the doppelgangers. What matters is about the concept that power is wielded from a personality. The personality has worked very well for the Russian elite running the Kremlin. So if Putin happens to have died, the concept of Putin can be continued by one ruse or another, just like El Cid can be stuck on his horse, dead or alive, and lead the troops out of the gates of history into legend and all that sort of stuff. So made so glorious by Charlton Heston and Sophia Loren. But if it worked once, it can work again. The name of Caesar was borne by the Tsars until the beginning of the 20th century. That's 2,000 years of influence. And there's not very many people who have had that direct effect on power, other than, of course, Christ. As for Nigel Farage, and I'm looking for the comment which has suddenly slipped. Oh no, there we are. DJ Martin says, Reform is BNP and EDL, and don't forget. I agree. Reform has picked up, just as UKIP picked up the BNP and EDL vote and the BNP and EDL activists, just by another name. Maybe it's modified them. Maybe from that point of view, it's done our country a service. But they are there. They are there with no doubt. And DJ Martin points out something which I hadn't noticed, and I think, how brilliant is this? Don't forget, Nigel Farage has the initials that sum him up completely. NF, National Front. NF, Nigel Farage. Superb. And Tony Dick says, you group-think lefties don't seem to have much imagination. We had years of Russia investigations in the US coming from concerning Trump. The report that came out was laughable. Anyone who was on the Trump team had to have something about Russia mentioned in the same sentence. It was the law. Once you spot how blatant that spin is, it just looks ridiculous. After months of investigation by a team of rabid Trump haters, they found nothing linking Trump to Russia. Well, I'm afraid they're still finding things linking Trump to Russia. The point is that Russia is the one in control of that relationship, and Russia is considerably brighter than anything Trump presents. That is apart from the dodgy dossier full of fiction that Hillary and the DNC had concocted in an attempt to make Trump look bad. Even worse, they paid for it via solicitors, so they committed the same crime that they charged Trump with. You can't really make this up. The difference was that Trump was not trying to swing an election because it had already happened. The DNC was. Well, I thought the point was that Clinton won the majority of the vote. Even worse, many people are seemingly unable to tell the difference between facts and assertions. For instance, saying Putin's assassins walked the streets of Salisbury is an assertion. No, it's a fact, and the names are already established. It's alleged, you say. It has not even been proved beyond reasonable doubt. We don't need to. That's not a fact. That's a legal judgment. I'm not making a legal judgment. I'm asserting a fact. And yet people with Putin phobia will repeat it ad nauseum as fact. Yes, we will, because there's good reason to be Putin phobic. We should be afraid of that man and his influence. For balance, we should identify everything on social media that is being done to play up or play down any politician or political party. I think if you look at my feed over the last few weeks, you will find that I am equally critical of all the main parties. I haven't said much about the Green Party because I don't think it's very significant. But I have certainly been critical of Labour. I will continue to be critical of Labour. I've certainly been critical of the Conservatives and will continue so. And I will be critical of Farage's reform because I think it requires examination. I've equally been critical about the Lib Dems and their leader, who I think should be held to account for his role in the post office scandal. The idea of painting me as somebody who, simply because I criticise the Conservatives or reform, is a Labour supporter is an absurdity. And it's simply an ad hominem argument. Face the facts, answer the questions, rather than make these bland assertions. For balance, says Tony Dick, we should identify everything on social media. I've done that bit. People set up rooms full of bots whose job it is to reply to social media posts. Take this article, for instance, from Tech Around. According to research from the Oxford Internet Institute, campaigns using social bots have been detected in over 80 countries, a significant increase from previous years. This includes everything from small-scale intimidation tactics to large-scale misinformation campaigns used by governments, political groups and private companies looking to influence public opinion on a large scale. Well, the points are very interesting, but you're not actually saying anything, Tony Dick, except telling me that there's a difference between an opinion and a fact. There is, but I think when you're talking about Salisbury and the naming of individuals, and then subsequently the honouring of those individuals by Putin in the Kremlin, I think those assertions move much closer to facts. So close indeed we can use them as facts. Yes, they're not legal judgments. And this is one of the problems with the modern debate. We seem to be caught up, and the political parties are caught up, in the difference between a legally proven case, which incidentally can then be overturned on appeal, and a fact which is, on the balance of probabilities, a likely scenario unless another one is presented. Present me with another fact, and I will change my narrative. I'm always only too happy to change my mind when the facts change, as John Maynard Keynes would have said. So thanks very much for that. And one more from Golden Eagle. Putin has his fingers everywhere, literally. Yeah, I think he's just falling apart, isn't he?